Hello and welcome everyone to Founder series brought to you by One Pitch. We sit down with founders who've created unique tech tools, get them to share with us more about their journey, what the company is about and where it's headed next, and uncover truths behind how these founders have created success for themselves and their business. Our first guest on Founder to Founder is Payman Taei. He's the founder and president of Visme, the co-founder of Respona, the founder and director of operations at Hindsight Interactive, and a member of the Forbes Agency Council. Welcome, Payman, and thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jared. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Thanks again for hopping in and spending a few minutes with us. I understand you actually had some stuff you were doing earlier today, correct?
Yeah, just a video shoot going on about Visme. So we have a YouTube channel that's pretty popular, and it's just to teach people how to make information beautiful. And this is a little bit different, more of just a direct promotion of Visme. So yeah, something different. Got me out of the office instead of being in there all the time every day.
Yeah, being stuck behind a computer like most of us are, right?
Yeah, like me most of the time. So today was very different. It's almost like
Yeah,
a vacation for a few hours.
there we go. I love to hear that. Well, let's start off with a couple of questions. And I think first, what I'm most curious about is just a little bit more about your entrepreneur journey and becoming a founder and how that's led you up to this point in time.
Yeah, sure. I to pay my way through school, I back in early 2000s started designing websites and self-taught. I was a biology major, so just kind of learned design by having clients at guinea pigs, and then little by little getting better at it, up to the point where we're doing things for Disney and a few other notable companies. And most of the work that I did was very animated, interactive websites back in the day. For those of you that are probably over 30 years old, you remember Flash, Adobe Flash. And long story short, pivoted from there into wanting to create a replacement for a tool that would allow designers like myself to continue creating animated content that could also be viewable on a mobile device, because back in the day you couldn't actually do that. And that journey very soon led to where I ended up not focusing anymore on the agency side. So that pretty much, even though to this day hindsight really is just more of a hybrid that has rolled out another product, but my focus is primarily on Visme now. And Visme was basically the answer to a challenge that I had as a designer and a challenge that non-designers had. And so it was a solution to my own problem. And one of that was that I would use multiple different software to create different formats. So a digital format such as a presentation, a different tool, a social graphic, or a website animated graphic, or a pitch deck and infographic, data visualizations. For each of these, you have to use 4 or 5 different tools, or you go in and out of them, and each of them has a different interface. So I always was very frustrated with that, even though very powerful tools as a designer I would use. So I always thought that, hey, there's got to be one way to bring it all together in one interface. There has to be a way. And the other angle of it was for non-designers who want to have a great outcome and to be proud of it. And typically non-designers, of course, the outcome of what they create is not very pretty, let's face it,
Yep.
and wanted to be able to answer that. And so Visme was pivoted to being an all-in-one, we call it visual communication tool, or all-in-one design and presentation platform that non-design professionals can use to create different types of formats of content. So you can actually visualize data and information from your business, and the outcome tends to be different digital formats. So you could create short explainer videos, you could create animated social graphics, you could create static graphics for your website or animated, you could create full-fledged interactive presentations, and you could create just a simple a clean, professional-looking document with charts and data and tables and so on. And for all of those different formats, you can use Visme. And what it does is it gives you a balance between the simplicity of what other design tools give you, and it gives you the power that you wouldn't find in those design tools. So we sit between the simple, very entry point design tools and
Mhm.
between the very professional, high-end complex and harder to use, a higher learning curve platforms. We are bridging the gap between the two, and we're filling that gray area. And our users who actually notice that, who basically lift the cover of a magazine, in this case Visme, and they realize that there's more to it than just a very entry point. And then it's like a rabbit hole. You could just kind of keep going deeper and deeper. So anyway, that's in essence what it is. We're essentially a SaaS platform to tell better stories and create beautiful content for your business in less time and with a better outcome.
Wow, that is impressive. When I think about that, the first thing that kinda comes to mind is it's like a Canva on steroids.
You can
If you will.
say
Is that
that, yeah. Yeah.
a fair kind of interpretation?
That's what we have, often been compared to by users that use it, and that's what the term some of them have used.
Okay.
I think it's a fantastic platform. I
Mhm,
also think your Figmas and Adobe Cloud and so on, which is tools that I've used in the past and sometimes even use now, are
mhm,
fantastic platforms. We are kind of looking at from a different angle of the lens to look at what are all those tools have and how can we bring the essentials into it so that majority of the non-design professionals can graduate from one to the other without having to take a huge leap on all the way onto the other side. So yeah, we're also compared sometimes to other presentation tools and so on. And that's the
mhm,
thing, we're commonly compared to other tools, and the reality is that we are similar to other tools, but we're similar to many of them. So it's just, and that's the kind of the beauty of our platform, is that you could be a user of any of those and you're kind of going to feel right at home. But we just like to go deeper. We go one layer deeper with interactivity animation. We go one level deeper with some of the unique assets that you cannot find anywhere else, because we actually create majority of our 2D graphics and 3D graphics and animated illustrations and so on, and even characters that you can change poses and the color of the shirts and so on for more interactive storytelling. And those are built in-house, and it's taken us years, and we continue to develop those that you will not find anywhere else. So that's also what makes us unique, is that you can have content that doesn't look like everybody else's.
mhm. Yeah, that's so interesting. I love the idea of making things that are familiar to people and that they might be used to seeing elsewhere, because that's so much easier for users to adopt that sort of thing and become familiar with it, of course. Um,
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your user base, though. I mean, I guess if you could almost like, describe them as a persona, or, even go a little bit deeper. What are the types of users that are using Visme currently?
Yeah, it would be, it's pretty much everyone from all walks of life. However, we are main focus for us is non-design professionals. And
Mhm,
the although we have a free version, and many of our users tend to be students and teachers and so on that use Visme, and eventually they go get jobs and they want to create more serious types of format, and they end up being paid users of Visme. What typically the personas that benefit the most from Visme are essentially people that work at businesses. Now, marketing managers highly benefit from it because we have very a strict ability to have strict branded guidelines that you can lock in so that your salespeople and the rest of your team can use. Project managers love our tool because you can do flow charts. You can actually do pretty decent data visualization because we have pretty powerful charting abilities. We have what's called data widgets. You can take stats and figures and quickly visualize them. And then on the other side, of course, we have even all the way down to the small business owners who want just a better outcome. I want something that looks different and better than what my competitors are creating because they're all using similar tools. So what is there out
mhm,
there? So that's where we come into play. On the other side, there are some enterprises that are also using Visme as well, and we have enterprise plans that go deeper. They go deeper into analytics. They go deeper into logging history, audit history, version history, and so on. And so we have some of the a handful of Fortune 500 companies. We have some leading sports teams, and along with pretty much organizations, nonprofit organizations, leading ones that are using us. So it is a pretty wide cast net, but a few of our target users end up being, again, as a core non-design professionals, and digging down a little bit more, your HR managers, your the salespeople that are working with the marketing and so on, and even executives, of course, actually C-level executives or COOs and so on, they also make up a decent portion of our user base as well because they can create these impactful documents for internal and external communication. And that's actually the key. A lot of people think of us or many presentation tools and so on
Mhm.
as a outward facing platform. We actually have a lot of our users that create content that is for internal use. And so they can be password protected. They can be strict permission set of who can access it, who can view it, who can even comment on it. All those as a part of our system.
Mhm. That's so fascinating. I feel like there are very few tools in, the whole sphere, if you will, where organizations up and down can actually utilize them effectively. The first thing that comes to mind would be like project management. But
Mhm.
I feel like there's very few things where the C-suite is using it all the way down to probably, the intern who was hired last week who's in charge of putting together some visuals for a client or something.
Yeah, somebody was actually mentioning that to me. It was just, I think it was an interview I was doing and was mentioning is that, look, it's it's almost in the corporate world, it's interesting that you could have someone that isn't as maybe well versed in their profession as the other person, and they
Mhm.
come to present this slide deck or this new process or this project and so on, and they have a nicer looking slide deck that gets the point across, tells a better story, and they end up actually getting the promotion or getting the project versus someone that comes in with their average 1990s looking slide deck and it's just packed with too much information. I guess that's another way you can look at it. Some people just we could be guilty of helping those individuals, but hey, we're just a tool that people can use to do, and it's open for everybody to use.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. I love that. So kind of shifting gears a little bit, what I guess if you could try to summarize or maybe even pinpoint just one thing, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned being a founder, whether that be at Visme or some of the other companies that you've helped create and are still working for?
Well, to date, we have been bootstrapped, and so I will tell you that it's freaking hard. It's not easy for those that are
Yep.
getting started. It is almost a lifestyle, in that it follows you everywhere when you're running that. So if you're going to be a startup founder and so on, you're in for an adventure, I guess I should say. It's freaking hard, but it's also, I think, exciting. And there's ups and downs. It's literally like a roller coaster. And so
Mhm.
I'm not putting, gonna put a picture that sounds bad. It's just that with anything that you have high risk and high rewards, you're going to be facing, ups and downs and so on. But I'm very happy. I wouldn't have done it any other way as far as, being a part of, the projects and so on that I've been involved with. So I
Mhm.
have no regrets in regards to that. And I just think it's very exciting. And the other part is that you get to create, and today, in this case, we're a SaaS platform, right?
Mhm.
You get these visions, and in our case, you get to see the outcome people are creating. So just today, this company, one of my customer success people sent me this email, which is actually a fairly decent sized public company, and their team said, that I'm not going to use the name here. We'll get permission from them, but that your
Sure.
platform has allowed our team to create content in a fraction of the time, and the outcome is amazing. That it's allowing us to actually improve our
Wow.
marketing results. So, when you hear things like that and you worked on this thing for 7.5, 8 years, and it's been grueling, extremely
Mhm.
difficult to build a platform like this. And those things kind of just, give you, you pat yourself and your colleagues in the back and say, hey guys, great job. And this is why we're here. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And we can very much relate at One Pitch. We are bootstrapped. We've been doing this for
mhm,
about 4 years. And I mean, everything that you mentioned just as far as, the enjoyment that you get from it, also the grit that you put in, right? There's a
mhm,
lot of I won't say good and bad, but it's very rewarding in that sense to be bootstrapped, to know you've built something, leverage the tools and the resources, whether you're a small team or a big team.
mhm.
So great job doing that. And
Thank
congratulations
you.
too on that feedback from your customer. That's huge.
Thank you very much, Jared. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So that pretty much wraps up for my questions. I want to end just if if you want to share anything with the folks who are going to be watching this, just as far as if there's anything you'd like to promote, tell them about what's going on with Visme, what to expect
Yeah.
coming up. This is your
Oh,
chance
yeah. Why not take why not take advantage of the moment, right? I would simply, put it this way, is that if you are a non-design professional and you may be using certain tools already, or you're looking to really take things to the next level and create a more modern looking outcome, we actually don't like to be looked at Visme as a design tool. And that is something we want to get away from, or seen as a presentation tool. We actually look at those as just outcomes of the content that you do. So, if you're looking to create a better, tell a better story that is impactful in a more visually appealing format, then Visme would be worth something to check out. There's free accounts. You can get in and you can go deeper, and then you can see what it kind of leads into. What I always tell people is to take more than 5 to 10 minutes in it. That is the challenge. Take more than 5 to 10 minutes, because that's when things start clicking, and that's when you find things that are just hidden,
Mhm.
little Easter eggs that you will not find in any tool, and that's where things come to life. On the surface, it looks like others, but underneath it's a little bit different. So that's my request for those users that are watching. Otherwise, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, of course, Payman. Thanks for joining us today. And folks who are watching, you heard it directly from the founder there. Go check out Visme. Spend a couple minutes, a little more than you might think, and you'll be surprised, I'm sure, with what you find in there. But again, Payman, thanks for joining us. This was really fun to chat
Thank you
with
for
you for
having
a
me.
few minutes,
Appreciate it, Jared.
and
Thank you.
looking forward to what's next for you guys.
Awesome. Cool stuff to come.
There we go. All right, everyone, take care.